We've been talking about this for a long time, and what I mean by that is that I've been trying to convince you to do this with me for a long time, and we are finally here, episode 1 of Bloom and Babycakes.
Episode 1.
Wow. Is this how this is going to go? I really want to try and do this where I don't have to edit it. I would just like to, give the people the raw episode without having to edit. So can we...
I'm a podcast virgin, so...
So am I. But isn't it fun that we're doing it together?
Not really.
How do you feel about this now that I've convinced you? It took me about 2.5 years.
Let me think about that. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Well, hi guys. Thank you for joining us on our very first podcast, Bloom and Babycakes. A little bit of intro. Should we give them an intro about us? Just for in case someone's listening for the first time, they have no idea who we are or what we do or what we're going to talk about.
I have no idea who I am yet either, so I don't know if I'm going to help.
Is this a journey for you? Is it podcasting journey? You're going to find out who you are throughout these podcasts?
It's a growth cast.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm Bloom. I like to chat. I'm Italian. I've been singing since I was 4, but touring the country internationally for the past 9 years with my wonderful husband, Babycakes.
Who is always right.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Anyway, what about you? What's your quick one-liner?
I'm 5'8". I like long walks on the beach, and that's about it. I don't like anything else.
No, you don't.
No.
You actually don't.
I actually don't.
You don't even like walks along the beach.
I don't even like that. I don't like anything.
Which you've taken away my love of the beach, and because I love the sand in my toes and walking along the beach, and we can't even do that because we do everything together. We're one of those couples that are together 24/7, which means if you don't like the beach, I don't go to the beach. And we need to work on that. But
that's why I call her Sandy. Surname withheld.
So we've been married now for almost 2 years, Babycakes.
That feels like 20 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time just flies.
Is marriage what you thought it would be? Because you got married later in life. We won't reveal your age. But is it everything that you thought it would be?
Yeah, you're Italian. I'm always right. It's fun. It's a spicy meatball.
We can talk about our marriage and our marriage tips maybe in another podcast. But today we're going to talk about the music industry and the touring industry because I kind of feel like things are tough out there just from what I'm reading and from what we do, which is we're independent musicians. We run our own business. We put on our own tours, different shows all around the country, New Zealand. We've been doing really well. But it's, I don't know, there's been a shift. Costs have gone up. And what's your thoughts?
Lots of things, cost of living and the cost of touring is insane at the moment.
I've got a question for the people listening. Maybe they can interact with us and type their answers underneath. But, guys, what's stopping you from going out and enjoying live music? Is it the cost of the show? Is it the cost of living? Is it the cost of alcohol? Is it other distractions? You don't want to go out at night anymore? Like, what is it that stops you from going to live music? Or are you going to more live music now post-COVID, or were you doing that pre-COVID? So they're the questions that we'd like to know. But, yes. Did I interrupt you? I
Generally, yes, as a rule. It's a tough one. I don't think people appreciate the costing that goes into putting on a show. There's so many things. So, for example, let's say that we were to fly to Perth. We live in Perth, but we have to fly our band here and that sort of thing. So just using numbers that are going to make it easy to understand. Let's say we make $10,000 on a show. People will think, oh, great, you've made $10,000. But if you think of the costings that go into that, you've got 10% goes onto, obviously, tax and GST. You've got a booking fee, which is normally around 10%. You've got a manager's fee, which can turn around anywhere from 10 to 20%. Management, booking agent, that sort of thing. So already you're looking at close to 40% of your costs have gone. Now, then if you look at flying 5 people over, the flights at the moment, Perth return, are around $800. So you're talking about $4,000 there. So that's another 40%. On top of that, you've got to get a hire car, you've got to get accommodation, you've got to do your marketing, and then you've got to pay the band. So already that $10,000 has been surpassed.
Yes.
So we're currently in a loss situation.
Well, you're already behind, right? Before the show is even done, we're kind of behind because we need to sell X amount of tickets to cover all those base costs first.
That's right. And we keep our ticket prices as low as we possibly can.
That's something that I'm really passionate about, that, sometimes maybe it's hard to come up with that price point, isn't it? Because you want to keep it affordable for everyone, but then the cost of everything else has gone up. And we're the last ones. Yeah. We're the last ones. We're at the end of that food chain. And so just on that, when we say like people don't appreciate what goes into it, the whole reason of doing this podcast was just to maybe let people know a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes so that they understand maybe why we don't visit Adelaide as much, because you get some pretty sometimes angry comments online of why we don't visit certain places with our shows. So I wanted to talk about one of your shows that's been running for a long time. So Bomb But Not Forgotten. When did you start that?
13 years ago we started that in WA, and we've been playing here every year since, as well as around the country. We try and tour the entire country every year, but we've just announced sadly that this year will be the final one for Perth for exactly the reasons that we were just talking about. Bomb But Not Forgotten's its own kettle of fish, because we do have some of the best musicians in the country, and some well-known players in the band as well. So in order for us to come over and do, say, 2 shows in WA, we need to sell out those 2 shows to cover the costs and to make a little bit of money out of it, which is obviously part of the reason why we do what we do. We do it because we love it, but we also do it because it's our living. So we have to make some wage out of that, and that goes for everybody. And it's not just the band members; it's it's crew as well. So you're feeding over 10 mouths here. And we obviously pay support bands. We like to encourage up and coming artists to do shows with us as well. We've got an American band actually coming over this year for a tour. There's a lot that goes into it. Unfortunately, the WA thing for Bomb will be no longer, purely because it's just far too expensive for us to do that.
Is this where I talk?
Oh no!
I know you gave me a gap.
I was just buffering.
Oh.
So edit.
And
we're back. We just had to take a quick break. I was looking into Amanda's eyes and we had to take 5 minutes.
And we're back after that little edit. I read an article from theconversation.com, and they wrote this article in April this year talking about the cancellation of major festivals. Current economy is making the sector unsustainable. A report by Creative Australia reported that the attendance to live events was less frequent than pre-COVID times, and just 56% of Australian music festivals made a profit last year. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know where all the money is going. I will say that I feel that we've been starting to hire theatres, and they are expensive.
They are expensive.
I'm probably not allowed to say that because I'll probably never be allowed to play in theatres. But, what's happening there? Why is it so expensive? Should I edit that out?
I don't have the answers.
Every show is a gamble. Like, who goes to work and goes, oh, how much money am I going to make today? Like, most people are on a salary.
Professional poker players?
Well, other than that, we're not professional poker players, are we? But
people that go out to sea and collect deep sea fish.
We also don't do that. Okay, thank you for those examples, James. But most people listening to this podcast maybe are on a salary, and so they know exactly what they're going to earn every week or every fortnight. And
just to note, I'm not a fan of celery.
I'm putting that in your soup later today. But for us, every show is a gamble. So we go, should we play there this weekend? All right, let's play there. And then, some other massive event gets put on that same night up the road or something, and it just crushes us little independent shows or something. And I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason as to why shows work. We've got a show that's on sale for next year that is selling amazingly.
It's almost sold out.
Right. And then we've got a show in 2 weeks.
And we're not even advertising it.
Yeah. And then we've got a show in 2 weeks that is not performing as great, and you can't understand. I mean, I have no idea why that's happening. So everything is a gamble, and you know that I'm not a gambler. It gives me anxiety, and every day we're looking at numbers and ticket sales, and ticket sales are slow at the moment. So I don't know what would it be like if there was a world without live music, and what do you guys think is a reasonable price for tickets, and what is keeping you at home and not coming out to shows? So those are the kinds of questions I'd be interested in hearing from people.
Let us know what you think. There could be a prize. Could be a Frenchman.
He's
Our guitarist is a Frenchman.
If you come to our shows, he's always the prize, isn't he? Maybe we could give out tickets. Maybe people could go into a pool to win tickets to the show if they interact with our podcast.
Free tickets to French people?
Yeah.
That's a bit unfair to the rest of the world.
How do we want to end this podcast?
We'll end the podcast with a weather update. It's cold. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, guys.
I'm elevated.